Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 242 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor. We don't have Damon again, but we do have a special guest today. I don't know if there's anything you want to say before the special guest comes on, Trevor.
No. Let's get right into it because I'm excited to talk about what he's bringing. So
yeah,
hi Derek.
We have Derek after a long absence. We were just saying before we started recording that we've been talking to Derek now for at least 5 years. I mean, it's been probably longer than that, right?
38 years, Tom.
38 years. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
It's been great. Yeah, it's awesome to be back. I always love to be able to pop in and talk to you guys and talk to your audience, which is always so fantastic. So thank you once again for having me on. And I promise, I just told you guys that I was at Animal Kingdom last night, and I will not go because I know how the show goes. I will not go into a 4-page discussion of how much I love the food. And just go
at Animal Kingdom. Well, it's okay. Damon's not here, so Damon hates the food at Animal Kingdom. We like the food there, so yeah.
I like. You could talk about.
No, we could talk about food since Damon's not here. And secondly, I think we won the poll challenge anyway. So yeah. I think I'm a winner in the poll challenge, and I don't even know what side Trevor really is on this, but I think Trevor's pro food. I don't know.
I'm for it. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I think I'm kind of in the middle, honestly. We can talk about it, but there comes a point where we can take a little bit of a break from it. We don't have to talk about it every week.
Although, Derek, you said you went to Yak and Yeti last night, which is like Damon's favorite. So
it was my first time at Yak and Yeti, and we booked it extremely. It was my first time. So we booked it extremely last minute. It was just me and my wife because the kids are gone. So we're like, hey, let's go have some fun. Drive 30 minutes to go to Animal Kingdom, not ride really any rides whatsoever. Just take our time strolling through the park, and we ate at Yak and Yeti. It was awesome. I loved it. I swear. It was probably one of the best theme park meals that I've had in a long time. I'm just so used to always being disappointed lately by my, theme park food that it's always one of those things to where people go, hey, how was so-and-so? Or did you eat this at that place? And you're always like, you know what? It really wasn't that bad. And I'm like, that's the worst thing that you should be able to say about Disney food is it wasn't that bad.
You want to say it was
right.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it.
Well, that's good. Animal Kingdom is a good strolling around at night kind of park, I feel like.
It's my favorite. My God. And then you throw in the stuff that most people don't even maybe do or just breeze through, but going through the Gorilla Falls.
Oh, I love the trails.
Oh my God. And then the Maharaja Jungle Trek, I think is the most detailed, amazing, awesomely. We spent legit 45 minutes to an hour in there, just walking through, looking at all the details and taking the picture. It was awesome, man.
You know what I find, Derek, one that people really don't even know exists is the trail that goes around the Tree of Life. There's a trail that goes around the Tree of Life, and I feel like every time we've done it, it's you find those peaceful places sometimes in the parks, which is a weird thing to say when Magic Kingdom. If you go to Tom Sawyer Island, there's those couple rocking chairs that face off to Big Thunder Mountain, and it's almost like you're not in the busiest theme park in the world.
I told my wife and said, listen, where do you want to go? And I told her and said, listen, I don't want to go to the Magic Kingdom just because for me, it's just so much of an effort. You got to park the car, then you got to take the tram, then am I swimming? Am I taking the monorail? How am I getting there? And then I was like, I don't want to go to Studios because that's my least favorite park by far. EPCOT always has kind of been there, done that feel. So I was like, let's go to Animal Kingdom. Let's just go there. And just like you said, Tom, there's so many cool, just little nooks and crannies that you don't even see people, and you look around at the foliage and stuff. And now the weather's great, so it's not 200 degrees there. It was awesome. I love that park, man. It's probably my favorite.
My wife firmly believes that Animal Kingdom is a hotter park than all the other parks, and I don't know if how that's possible, but
it is true.
That's what she said. She said it's always hotter there. I don't understand.
It's humid because of the plants.
That's exactly right. It is legit because I have friends that work there. They said it's anywhere between 8 to 12 degrees hotter.
No way.
Yes, 100%.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell my wife this is scientifically proven by cast members.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I need to get another beer, honey. It's literally 11 degrees hotter here.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, anybody listening, you can use that excuse now. So,
or another ride on Cali too. I mean, that works as well.
Yeah. Last night was cold. Cold. It was like 65. But it was funny because everything had huge waits because it's a run weekend here. So it's the wine and dine. So the parks were crowded and whatnot. So, but the only one that had a 5-minute wait was Cali River Rapids.
Because no one wants to go in the cold.
Right? Nobody went on it. Nobody.
You see, I would have, but that's because I'm Canadian and 65 is like summer weather to me.
I know. Yeah, I know. It was beautiful.
Want to know something weird is I think we all have like our Disney gaps where like just some ride that we've just never done for one reason or another. I've never done Cali River Rapids. And the only reason is that we just don't want to deal with getting wet in the middle of the day. Like that's literally the only reason we haven't done it. Like I would love to do it. I just also just don't want to get soaking wet and walk around in wet clothes all day. Like that's, I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird like that. Maybe we should just and plus it always has a really long wait. I feel like, especially in the summertime, it's like really long.
It's slow loading. Yeah.
But anyway, so that's a weird gap that I have of a ride that I've never done at Disney. I mean, I feel like we've done just about everything else, but
it's probably a topic for a whole other show, but man, it should be so much better. Every time I go on that ride, I'm like, really? Like the ones at Six Flags are better than this. It's like
really?
Disney was like, we want to get you wet, but we don't want to get you too wet. Whereas if you go to Universal and go on Popeyes, they're like, we don't care. We're literally going to give you a bath. Yeah, like they don't care. Whereas, the theming's cool. The queue is cooler theming than the actual ride itself. It's super short too. So you're not missing much.
All right. Well, I mean, I still want to do it. I mean,
well, that sounds like a to-do the next time we schedule a meetup. Maybe we'll do an Animal Kingdom day.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll get you on Cali, and you're just gonna have to accept that you're getting wet.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, I don't even know why I've had an aversion to if there was like a 15-minute wait for it, I probably would just pop on. But I feel like I've never seen it with a short wait. I mean, outside of the times where it's cold, given I'm usually not in Florida when it's cold. So, I mean, I will.
We always save it for the end of the day. We always say, all right, let's do it, but let's save it for the end of the day because you don't want to walk around with squishy shoes and wet pants and
exactly. That's what I'm saying. So Derek, we have you on just to talk about some DVC stuff, right? One of the interesting things I have on here is just a news item, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. Are you surprised that Grand Floridian is sold out for the second time? I'm a little surprised. I mean, I guess I thought it would take longer, but they weren't really selling that many points, I guess, right?
They didn't have that many points, and the deals that they had
was crazy.
When that sucker went back on sale, many times, because I will talk to people and say, we just want you to be a member. So if it turns out that it's better for you to buy direct versus buying with us, that's why you talk to us. But there were people lots of times that would say, hey, well, I talked to Disney, back when the Grand had these amazing deals. And as much as I would try to say, well, no, you need to buy it direct from Disney because our prices just couldn't compete with it. So it does not surprise me whatsoever that it sold out as quickly as it did. And it's even more so is because Disney now, and I was there for like 20 years, they're selling more like live stuff than they ever have, which is crazy. Like I was always used to be, okay, here you go. You're a Disney Vacation Club guide. Here's the product you have. Do you like it? No? Okay. Do you like it? Perfect. Let's go ahead and sign you up. Here it's like, we've got this, and we've got cabins coming. We've got the Polynesian over there. We got Disneyland Tower. We had some Grand Points. We have Riviera. We'll always have Alani. So there's just so many stuff to be able to pick and choose. And the Grand is just such a slam dunk now, especially because it's got every single room type. The dues are great on it. It's got a great term on it, and it's the Grand. So no, it does not surprise me at all.
Wait, I mean, I wonder when, like, I feel like Riviera has been on sale forever now. Is that ever going to sell out either? Is this going to be one of those ones that's going to be on sale forever? Like, I mean, I feel like it's been so long, but it really hasn't been that long, but you know.
No, but and I think we have a question from a listener that kind of touches on it, which I can touch on it briefly. I think it honestly would have sold out a long time ago, but I think the restrictions that they put on it, I think it killed it.
It killed. Okay.
That's fair. I agree with you on that.
100%. And it's also, you were competing with the Grand Floridian, right? So you had people that they would always call the Riviera, it's the Grand Floridian of EPCOT, is what they used to call it. It'd be like, okay, well, I'd rather buy the, actual Grand Floridian that you guys are having versus the Grand Floridian of EPCOT. So you were competing against yourselves. So I think that hurt it, and I definitely think that the resale restrictions hurt it too as well.
All right, well, we'll talk about that, I guess, in a minute with Jeff's question. But so do you want to give us like a general like state of the market right now? We buyers market, sellers market. What are we looking like? I feel like, Derek, every time I go to look for an Animal Kingdom contract, that there's never any Animal Kingdom contracts on the resale market. I've been looking for one forever now, and it's just like they pop up and they're gone immediately.
They do. Yeah. Especially if you're looking for a smaller one, right? So if you find, anything under 100 points or less can go super, super quickly. The market is great. It's always the time of year where you're in this transition time of where I tell sellers, especially, I say, if you're thinking about selling for whatever reason, whether it's emotional or financial, whatever it is, now's the time to get listed. And we're not just saying that because now's the time to sell. No, we legit, now the time is because we start to get flooded soon with new sellers, because once the 2024 dues are announced, that's when we literally get hit, and we can get 50, 75, 100 new listings every single 7 days. So as a seller, you want to get out there and kind of beat the rush, so if I have 150 point Saratoga, let me get it out there now where I have less 150 point Saratogas versus if I wait till the dues come out and, look, here's 25, 30, 40, 50, 150, 200 point Saratoga Springs. So at the end of the day, we always tell people, listen, it's points, and buyers are looking at one thing, the number of points, obviously, but they're just looking at price per point. I mean, as much as, you think your 150 point Saratoga is awesome, it's not a house. There's not one on the end of the street that's right across the street from the perfect school. And oh my God, I have to have it. Literally, you could probably find up to 10, in that range. So it's always best, if you're a seller, reach out to us now and just get out there and beat the rush.
So is that you saying that it's a seller's market right now, or is it a buyer's market at the moment?
I mean, prices are great. It's, it's kind of a mix.
In between? It's an in-between market?
It's kind of balanced. In-between time, because prices are still great, right? So prices are great. And even more importantly, too, is there's still really no ROFR. I mean, we're looking at, less than 1% of contracts have been bought back in 2023. We've never, ever had that.
So even though they started buying back recently, that hasn't like accelerated. It's just kind of stayed at a low amount. Okay.
No, the numbers are still low. I mean, we're literally looking at maybe, 3 a month. It's ridiculous. So buyers can get a great deal right now. But most importantly, they don't have to worry about, losing sleep over it, where people are getting stuff that literally, if it was 12 months ago, they never would have gotten it. When Disney was buying back 30, 40% of certain resorts. So now people are looking back going, my God, I'm so glad I bought. I breezed through ROFR in, 10, 12 days. I got my estoppel. I closed on my contract in a record amount of time. So yeah, it's a really, really good time.
Go ahead, sorry, Trevor.
I was just going to say, this actually reminds me of when I bought my second poly contract through you guys, was that there is something to be said for timing that, for anybody listening to this, if you are on the fence, pulling the trigger on this stuff sooner than later, like, always works out in your benefit, because I can't ever think of a point, like, for the amount of times we've discussed this, where it's been like, make this decision on buying your DVC, and then suddenly Disney comes out like a few months later, it's like, hey, this is a better version, or we there's never a better opportunity by waiting, right? No. That's what I'm hearing again here, is that if you're on the fence, you should probably pull the trigger, because Disney is in a place right now where you are going to get a better deal. And like, I know that feeling. Like, it's like once you have it, and like I look back even now with my contracts, and it's like, I am so glad I got those when I did.
Oh yeah. And Disney just came out with their, holiday promotions. And so usually it's kind of that time of year where it's like, okay, wow, they're going to bring out the big guns and there's going to be deep discounts. They came out and they're honestly terrible. I mean, they're just not
good deals.
They're just not good deals. And that's why, we always tell people, take your time and do your research. Buy the resort you need. It's just the most important thing. Whether you buy direct or whether you buy resale, buy the resort you need. If you love the Riviera, honestly, buy the Riviera direct from Disney. I'll give you a great vacation club guide. Buy it from them. Because if you buy Riviera with us, the restrictions, I can only use it there, so it's not going to work. But if you're someone that says, listen, I just want, points, I just want to book, 7 months out, or I love the beach club, or we love Hilton Head in the summertime. That's why thousands of people buy with us, because it's like, hey, I'm going to save a boatload of money, but most importantly, I'm going to buy the resort I need, not the $220 per point Disney resort that they want me to buy. So
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So any other general, what was it? Oh, when do you think that they're going to ramp up Rofer next year, or do you think that it's just going to stay like this?
I don't think it's going to stay like this for long. But again, if you would have told me that, 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, I don't think it can stay like this for long. I just think that they've got so many projects. Because again, Rofer basically, for folks that don't know, is like, hey, is Disney going to buy my contract back that I purchased at the price that I purchased it for? So they have like a 30-day window to decide I'm going to buy it back. They still have to spend money. So that's just it. It's, it's not like they're, using their, thumb and saying, okay, I'm going to smush this one and you can't have this. They have to spend money for the contracts that they purchase. So when they're not buying Rofer, because vacation club guides are going to be encouraged to sell the live inventory, sell the Riviera. Why? Because when Disney sells it for $200 plus per point, they get 100% of profit for that. When they buy a Rofer contract, let's say at the Grand Floridian, and they buy it back for $160 per point, they still had to spend $160, so they're not getting 100% of that profit. So I think it's going to start to come back up, which again, and I remind people that yes, it's a great time to go ahead and buy, to not have to worry about it. But as an owner, you want Rofer. You really do want it, because that is what keeps the value of your Disney Vacation Club membership up. That is why you can't go online like every other timeshare and buy it for $1, is because of Rofer. So as an owner, once you get your points, you want Rofer because it helps you as an owner.
Well, that's interesting. I guess I hadn't thought about it that way. So that's a good point.
Yeah, it keeps a floor on the price, so that,
that's exactly
like you said, exactly. we don't end up fighting each other for the same thing, right?
Right. Yeah, because people will look to say, well, am I going to make money if I buy this, or what if I spend this and this? We have, obviously tens of thousands of examples of folks that, depending on when you purchased. I mean, the folks that purchased direct from Disney in 1991 paid, $49 a point for Old Key West. Yeah. $49 a point. So when those sellers reach out to me, like I had one today saying, hey, I think we want to sell it. We've had it since 1992 or something, and we tell them, we're like, okay, we're going to suggest a list for probably around, $100 a point. And they're like, oh my God, are you kidding? Like, I've literally taken, vacations every year since 1992 with my family, staying in deluxe resorts. And I'm actually going to make money off of this. But yeah, so that's what keeps your vacation club valuable, is because depends, obviously resort, and it depends on, when you bought it. So if you're someone that, maybe bought the Disneyland Tower last month and you reach out to us and say, I need to go ahead and sell it, you're probably not going to be making a profit off of that. So the longer you keep it, the more likelihood that, hey, if you can break even on it, or make a little bit of money on it, it's perfect. But the bottom line is, if you don't have it and you're taking Disney vacations, you can't call up Disney in 10 years and say, listen, we're done. Can I get any money back? Like, at all?
Yeah.
So at least you own it. Get something to show for your money.
Yeah, we got something out of it, right?
Exactly. And you're staying in deluxe resorts, so your vacations are better. Like, I'm sorry, you're not taking 10 years of staying, God bless the All-Star, but give me 10 years of staying at the Polynesian or Animal Kingdom or the Beach Club or the Boardwalk, and then own something and have something that I can get something back. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Or sorry, go ahead, Tom.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'll be honest, I did my honeymoon at the All-Stars Resort, and I have no desire to go back there.
They're fine. Listen,
yes.
I just got spoiled by deluxe resorts, and I can't go back now. I can't.
That is 100%. I never badmouth those resorts because I would rather have a guest stay on Disney property, right, than stay at some hotel on 192 or 27.
Yeah, I mean,
else. They serve an amazing purpose. I grew up literally my jam used to be called Dixie Landings. So back in the mid 90s, man, Dixie Landings, you nail it down for $70 a night. Now it's Port Orleans is like $300 to $400 a night. And I'm like, that's why you buy the vacation club.
That's why you buy DVC. I just to your point about ROFR before, I just pulled up, the blog on DVC Resale Market, and you guys have the ROFR report, and it's mentioning here the amount of contracts in all of 2023 that Disney exercised their right of first refusal, and there was 5 at Grand Floridian, 4 at Copper Creek, and 2 at Animal Kingdom, and that's the entire list. Like, it's just 11 for the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Which is kind of funny because I think I had to call a couple of those people. Yeah, which they're so excited to buy, like, this is such a perfect time to buy. I'm like, yes, it's such a great time. Look at the ROFR numbers, blah, blah, blah. And then we find out 3 weeks later, I get an email and they're like, Derek, they bought back this Grand Floridian contract from the buyer bureau. So I was like, oh my God, it's been so long since I've had to reach out to a buyer to tell them that their contract was bought back. So I'm like, listen, it's the call I hate to make the most. And she didn't believe it at first. She's like, oh, Derek, stop. And I was like,
no.
They bought your contract back. I'm so sorry. They're like, what? Are you kidding? What about it was? And that's what boggles the mind even more. And that's why, we have people that do spreadsheets and we calculate everything so you can go on the site to go see these things and how it's all broken out, is that sometimes you can't figure out why. Like, them buying back Grand Floridian while they were selling Grand Floridian is ridiculous. Like, it doesn't even make any sense. Like, I get it. Buy back, Boardwalk or Beach Club or, whatever, but you're selling a live inventory and those are the ones you're buying back while you have it. I don't get it.
I have to say, one of my favorite things you guys have in your blog is the resale price change chart. And maybe I'm just a nerd. Maybe I just like the numbers, but just seeing the change in prices and seeing the fluctuations and just even looking at it right now, the old Key West extended contracts look like they're having a moment where they're surging a little bit, whereas Beach Club is kind of taking a dive a little bit, which is interesting to me as far as prices go. But it looks like also Boulder Ridge too is also increasing. So I mean, what do you attribute those fluctuations to? Is it just how many of those contracts you happen to have on the market at once, or is that? Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I just noticed. I just find it interesting that some Beach Club always seems like it's in demand, but it seems like the price is going down, which would tell me that maybe it's not as in demand as usual.
Yeah, it always can change. So it's always based on, what's the contract size, how many points are available, is it fully banked? Are there, what we call just a loaded contract, or are there contracts that are, completely stripped of points? I'm talking with someone who has 8 contracts and he's looking at selling them, but he's got a cruise booked. So he's already used the points from 2025. So there's literally no points until 2026. So obviously
no one's paying a premium for that. No one's paying a premium.
Exactly. But believe it or not, and which is crazy, there is a market for those. So a lot of people, and when I say a lot of people, I say members, just because members don't necessarily need or want points right away, right? So they might not need a contract with points that have no points till 2025, which is perfect because, hey, I don't have to pay any more dues in 2024, and I've locked in a great price in case the prices go up, over the next year. So members love stripped contracts.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. So do you want to talk about this promotion you guys are doing?
Sure. Yeah, and
this no money down thing that's going on?
Of course, yeah. And anybody that wants to see the blogs that, we're all talking about, just go to dvcresalemarket.com, and in that search bar in the upper right, you can actually type in, either ROFR, ROFR, or you can type in the word average, and it'll bring up the average selling prices. Those are reports that we do each and every month.
Derek, let me just correct you really quick. It's dvcresalemarket.com/welcome home. That's important.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. The other site will not work.
No, it won't work if you don't do /welcome home at all. You can't go on the website. I also have to laugh too at the person who wrote this article, which says Samantha-DVC Millennial. That just kind of makes me laugh. DVC Millennial.
She's amazing. She's great. She does great videos for us. Yeah, she's.
I don't think we know Samantha, do we? I feel like now we need to get Samantha on here. I don't think we've.
Oh, you have to. She is so great and so sweet and loves Disney and does amazing content on Instagram with and for us. So yeah, she's terrific.
That's probably why, because we're old and we don't know how Instagram works. So
yeah, that's a big hurt.
Which is so funny you say that, because Marissa, who's our marketing and sales director, I will do some company posts on Facebook, which, okay, I got that figured out whatsoever. If she ever asked me to do like an Instagram post, I'm like, I don't even know how. Like what do I do? Like, all I do when I go on Instagram is just, click a button and watch someone's story that they did. But wait, you want me to post and add music and graphics and everything? I'm like, no, I got to call Danny or something, because
I don't know why I can see you doing TikTok, Derek. I just feel like you've got the personality for TikTok. I don't even know how to use TikTok either, but my wife sends me TikTok videos sometimes, and I'm like, I could see Derek doing this. I don't know why.
I'm an old Facebook man. That's all I know how to do.
Anyway, the sign and stay deal that you have going on.
Yeah, so we have an amazing promotion that we just launched, which is going to allow people to find contracts with, wait for this, 0 money down. And I know people are like, oh, that sounds crazy. It's not. It's 100% true. Right now we have about 30 of them, but they're flying out of here. These are contracts that literally you can purchase, because again, a lot of people say, well, how much money do I need down? Well, on a typical contract, okay, I need 10% in the first week. Then at closing, I have to come up with the balance. If I'm going to finance it, then I've got to come up with the closing costs. I've got to come up with lender fees. I've got to come up with, the annual dues. I've got to come up with, all of that at closing. These contracts for the promotions that we just launched, literally, it's no money down. It is no money down when you find a contract. Then there's no money due in that first week. When the contract closes, you bring nothing to closing. You bring absolutely nothing. Your first payment is going to be after, obviously, the contract closes and transfer takes place. So in that 60 to 80 day time frame, that's the first time that any money is going to come out of your account, is for that monthly payment when you finance with Monera, which a lot of people, especially this time of year, they love it, because they're like, right now I've got some expenses coming up. Maybe I've got some holiday gifts to buy, but I love this contract. It's perfect. It legit is no money down. And no one else has ever even been able to attempt to do something like this. So this is literally the first of its kind in the entire industry. And people can't believe it. There's no, it's this. And then it's like a shuckster deal. Like, oh, no, you didn't say this. We tell you right up front. I mean, here's the numbers. You can find the listings right on our site. When you go to the filter and you go to listings, look for them. They're called sign and stay. Right now, there's probably about between 20 and 30 of them, but they're going super quick. You just finance with our awesome financing partner, Monera. You're going to finance with them. It's going to be for their 12-year term. And then that way you can pay it off early. So a lot of people are like, okay, so if I do this, I got no money down, but let's say I want to, I get a bonus or something happens at spring and I just want to pay the whole thing off. There's no prepayment penalty whatsoever. So it literally is unheard of. And that's why people are like, wait, I just bought this, 200 point. I had someone yesterday say, hey, so I just bought the 200 point contract and the contract came and so I don't put any money down at all. No. And closing, I bring no money down as well. Nope. Your first payment, this is what it's going to be, and you're all set. So it's very, very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah, that's an amazing deal, and especially for some of our listeners that are maybe like looking to get into it, but don't maybe have the money to put down right now. Like I mean, we hear from listeners all the time that are like, want to know more information about DVC and don't know about it yet, and are unsure about it. So like, this is a good entry point.
It's a perfect one. And again, you're going to want to reach out to us with questions. So
of course,
any questions you have about, specific contracts or, the process or how DVC works. But it has just been so exciting, to be able to offer stuff. And that's what we always try to do here is we're not just here selling points. Our mission when we became the world of DVC is to kind of revolutionize the whole vacation industry. So, we just wrapped up a promotion where people could buy a contract, and if it had 2023 points, you could obviously use those points, or you could, turn them in for Disney park tickets, or you could turn them in for cash. So we're always trying to come up with new and exciting ways to help you become a Disney Vacation Club member or to add on to what you got. So we don't know how long this promo is going to last. So just make sure you visit our website, search for those promos. If you have any specific questions or anything at all, you can obviously email me directly anytime. Just Derek, DEREK at DVCResaleMarket.com, and more than happy to break everything out for you.
So where do they find these listings when they go to DVCResaleMarket.com/welcome home?
So go up to...
I can't help it, Derek. I have to do it. All right. I got to make sure everyone does welcome home. All right.
Yeah. Yep. You're going to see Tom's face is going to be at the top of the page.
It should be.
Exactly. Yeah. So just go to where it says listings. Right there at the very top, you're just going to click on where it says listings. Then you're going to see a little bar that says you can do different searches, right? I can search by resort, use year. What you want to look for is where it says status. So you're going to look for where it says status, and you're going to go all the way down towards the bottom, and you'll be able to see something that says stay, sign and stay is where you're going to be able to find it. So that way you can determine which listings are going to work for you. You'll see it right there in that column. Sign and stay, no money down. So you'll click on that one. It will bring up all the listings. Right now, there's only 17 left. So we had 30 as of, I think, a couple of days ago. So now there's 17 left. And you'll see it noted. When you click on it, you'll be able to filter by, oh, look, there's a couple of Animal Kingdoms. There's some Bay Lake Towers. We got some Boardwalk, Old Key West. Now, keep in mind, these listings do not have 2024 points. Right. So that helps because you don't have to pay any dues for 2024. So if a contract right now has 2024 points, part of what you have to bring to the table when you close on your contract is I got to pay for the dues in advance. None of these contracts. So that's going to give you an amazing price. And it's also going to give you no dues. So you don't have to. But depending on the use year, you can obviously borrow then from 2025. Right. So if I find a contract that's got, 250 points for Copper Creek with an August use year. Oh, perfect. I'll buy this. I don't have to pay dues in January. And then come August 1st, I could go ahead and borrow from 2025 if I wanted to.
Yeah, and if for no other reason, just go on their website so you can play with the little magical pixie dust that comes on the pointer when you're on the site. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, it's the coolest thing in the world.
Well, I'm looking at you right now, Derek. Your video of you and your family is on here.
I was that was many, many moons ago. I think I had some non-gray hair when I taped that video in Polynesia. Yeah, it's such a cool site, and we always take such pride in it, and it almost makes people feel. And I've had them tell me this afterwards, like I just had so much fun going through the site and watching the pixie dust and looking at all the pictures and the room tours and the blogs, and next thing you know, 24 hours I got a contract sitting in my inbox. So that's what makes it great.
I'm gonna be honest, Derek. Good. I'm eyeing up. There is a poly contract on here that has a June use year that it's more points than I need, but because of the no money down, I am actually very much considering it.
And it's gonna have a little bit of wiggle room on top of that already amazing price too, Trevor.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, so if I got it listed for, say 151, a lot of times the seller might take you, hey, you know what, I'll take 147, or I'll probably take, maybe even 145. So yeah, that's a amazing deal. I mean, the fact that you could snag a Polynesian contract for literally under $150 a point when Disney sells them for like 225 plus is crazy. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's definitely a good deal. Trevor and I have both bought contracts from DVC Resale Market, right? So we're not just here just like shilling for DVC Resale Market. Both of us have used them. And actually I bought 2 contracts from you guys, and it's the most seamless process ever. I've said this before. It's like the easiest way to spend a lot of money, really, like, because it almost feels too easy. You're like, I'm spending a lot of money right now, but at this, and it's really easy to do so. It's not like buying a house. We have to sign 1 million documents. There's documents to sign, but it's not like
it's quick though.
Yeah, it's quick. It's way easier.
Even for us international folk that always seem to have extra hoops, it was actually very painless. So
yeah, it's super painless. It's such a good process. But Derek, so we of course did exactly what we said we were going to do and went off on a million tangents.
I know, it's so my fault. I'm so sorry.
No, you never have to apologize for tangents on this show. This is what we do. So, although I'm just looking at listener questions here, and Jeremy wants you to price out a Disney cruise 3 different ways. And you actually, it's funny, you said before you came on here that to me that you're not the swap expert, okay.
but I went out of my way for Jeremy.
Wow,
I wanted to be able to answer his question. So as a longtime fan of Jeremy, I said, listen, I'm going to get with our expert, whose name is Ellie, by the way. She's fantastic. Yes. She's at the DVC rental store. So again, I'm just going to give an overview, but I said, Ellie, Marissa, I'm going on the show. I got to answer Jeremy's question. So can you give me just the top line details that will make people very excited? And then for any specific details, we'll have them reach out to Ellie at dvcresalemarket.com. So this is what I've got. So everybody ready?
Yep.
I'm going to answer Jeremy's question.
Let's say his question. 3 different ways he wants to price that a Disney cruise price 3 different ways: cash price, direct points price, and point swap price for a family of 4 for 4 nights.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and I'm going to walk you through it. Ready, everybody? So here you go. We picked a 4-night Bahamanian. I just like to say Bahamania. A 4-night cruise. A 4-night cruise to the Bahamas for 4 people, right? So this is 2 adults and 2 kids. We threw in the date right now, so let's just say November 4th through the 8th, 2024. If I'm going to pay cash for that cruise, right, just not using anything with points whatsoever, I'm just going to call DisneyCruiseLine.com. It's going to cost you about $5,200, right, for that 4-night cruise. $5,200. Now, if I'm a DVC member and I'm like, hey, I was told that I could use points on a Disney cruise. And they're like, yeah, absolutely you can. To book that cruise directly with points, directly through Disney Vacation Club itself, using your points, those points are going to be, for the family of 4, about 567 points.
Okay.
Now, here's where the exciting stuff, here's where you pull your car over to the side of the road and say, oh my God, I cannot believe this is even legal. Possible. This is fantastic. So here it comes. So Disney, of course, always charges you a transaction fee. So if you're doing something non-DVC, they'll charge you like $95. So just to break it out, that cruise direct through Disney is like 267 points for the first 2 guests, 150 for the child 1, 150 for child 2. So that's how they break out theirs. To do the literally exact same cruise, exact same boat, exact same dates, to go through our DVC rental store swap program, it's going to start at about 287 points total.
Wow.
287.
Okay. Yeah.
So I want to compare 287 for the exact same cruise to go through the DVC rental store and our swap program versus 567. There's no $95 exchange fee. That is why this swap program, I think, has completely revolutionized everything. Wow. Because it's for folks that would talk to Disney direct. One of the tools, and I used to do it when I worked there direct too as well, is say, well, why should I buy direct and why shouldn't I buy a resale contract? They would always try to scare you, right? And say, well, if you buy resale, you can't use resale points on a Disney cruise. Without going into detail that a 4-night cruise is going to cost you like 600 points. Now that argument doesn't even work. Because you look at us and go, wait a second, so I can still buy a resale, I can still take a cruise, and even better, I'm saving hundreds and hundreds of points than if I did that cruise directly through Disney. So it's
amazing.
It's amazing. And again, it's every single cruise, every single ship, every single itinerary. If it turns out that you don't have enough points to do it, Ellie will work with you and you can cover the rest in cash. So yeah, it's such a sensational program, and it has been so awesome and so incredibly popular with people, just being able to say, God, I never took a Disney cruise. Even if all of my points were direct, I never did a cruise just because the point transfer, it just didn't make sense for me. Now they go, oh my God, I I just took a cruise. I worked with your exchange program. It was amazing. We already have the next one booked. So yeah, it's awesome.
Honestly, just hearing those compared is, that's incredible. I'm doing a Disney cruise, I think, in 2025. And when I do that, I think I might do a point swap now that you're talking about this, because like I would never do points for it because, points just feels like a bad deal. But the point swap, that sounds amazing. I might have to do that.
It's incredible. And again, we do everything for you. So when you reach out to Ellie, so if you guys have any specific questions because again, it's obviously going to vary on the ship, on the dates, on the itinerary, all of that. Ellie has all of those specific details. She is absolutely phenomenal. And you can always email her at just Ellie, ELLIE, at DVCRentalStore.com. So Ellie at DVCRentalStore.com for this. And yeah, this is just one example of a cruise, but you can exchange your points with us to stay at Universal hotels. You can exchange it for Universal theme park tickets. You could exchange it for, beach houses here down in Florida. You could exchange it for huge vacation homes in Reunion, Florida, just outside a property where you can get an entire house that sleeps like 30 for less than what you could get a grand villa on Disney property that sleeps 12. So yeah, there's so many different options.
What about Legoland tickets?
I don't. Let me email Ellie right now. ELLIE.
That's all right. I already bought mine. We're good. We're good. So, Derek, we got to let you go here. But so one more quick question. And just to answer Jeff's question, he wrote a lot here. But do you think they'll ever go back on these resale restrictions? Like, are they just okay with what's happening? Do you think, can they go back? Can they just be like, okay, just kidding. We're not going to do that with Riviera anymore?
I don't know. And I think it's someone else had a question about the Polynesian. Like the Riviera is what it is. They can't go back and, remove the restriction. So they're stuck with that one. I think the $1 billion question is, what's going to happen with the Polynesian? That's the $1 billion question. Mm-hmm. Is it going to be the same condo association like it was at the Grand Floridian, right? So when they did the Grand, if you bought resale points at the Grand or wherever it is, you could use them in the new Polynesian building. So there's so many different thoughts and feedback. My gut tells me that it will be the same association. And I only say this just from talking to my friends at Disney. The amount of money and time and effort that goes into creating a whole new condo association is literally mind-blowing. It is insane that people don't realize it. You've got to meet with leaders of every single state in different countries around the world to make sure that it's registered and everything else. That this way, it's so much easier, like they did with the Grand, and just say, hey, same association. However, part of me goes, I don't know, because if you do that, I can't wait, because if it says it's the same association, my email is going to blow up. With people going, I'm buying poly points. Woohoo, this is perfect. So
buy your poly points now, Trevor.
Well, that contract is looking, a little more enticing now because I'm thinking I might need more points going forward.
But do not purchase it and say, well, Derek told me it was going to be No.
You
heard it here first, everyone. Derek said
I'm not going to show up on your doorstep, angry when they announce it. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, Derek, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. We love having you here. We've been talking to you for a long time. And so, how can people find you if they want to reach out, or where should they go about, I guess, questions for Rental Store or for Resale Market?
Yeah, you can always feel free, shoot me an email direct is always great. Just Derek, DEREK, at DVCResaleMarket.com. You can reach out to me with any questions. And again, if you have questions about that swap program for any kind of swaps, email Ellie. She's ELLIE at DVCRentalStore.com. And just come and visit us. Come on our site. We've got live chat. We've got the phone number there to call in.
Got pixie dust.
Yeah, we have pixie dust, lots and lots of pixie dust. But be sure to reach out to us with any questions. When you reach out to us, it doesn't mean you're just going to buy right then and there. If you got 1,000 questions and just say, hey, I just want to get these answered, take your time. that's what we're here for. So we appreciate you guys. You guys have always been such a phenomenal audience, and you guys have such great listeners that are, many of them are friends. So thank you guys for always being there for us, for always supporting us, and being such a smart audience with great questions.
We thank you guys for supporting us for so long. It's
yeah,
honestly,
thanks,
we talk about this. Nick was one of the very first people we had on the show, and then it expanded out from Nick. We had Nick a couple times, and then we started talking to you and to Marissa, and we've had so many people from the different groups, from your expanding empire on our show over the years. So we just found out the other day, Derek, like recently, that you guys are selling park tickets. We had no idea you were selling park tickets. And someone was like, "They have discounted park tickets," and we're like, "They do?" So, yeah. Anyway,
you can soon do. It's our new grocery exchange program, swap program, so you can buy groceries now with
DVC points.
No, DVC points. There's no end in sight.
Yeah, that's. Can I exchange 10 DVC points for a lunch with Derek? Is that like? Are you going to start selling time with your?
Exactly. Right.
All right.
You guys are the best. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Derek.
Thanks again, Derek.
You bet, brother.
All right. Well, always great to have Derek on. Love having Derek. He's always fun. Derek just gets us,
Yeah. I love Derek's energy. He's a ton of fun to have on the show.
Yeah, like I get, like he feels like the cast member you like at Disney, like that's got the energy, just loves what they do,
Yeah, you can definitely tell that he is former Disney, right? Like he's
exactly.
got that vibe. So yeah, always love having you on the show, Derek. And yeah. But
you have some great information too. I mean, I always learn stuff when he comes on the show.
And
so.
I need to actually go have a conversation with my wife about DVC after
about buying another contract. So
I'm gonna see how quickly I can put together a PowerPoint and present the case.
Yeah. Anyway. I want to see that PowerPoint. But yeah, no, for me, it's funny because I was saying there's no Animal Kingdom contract. There's a lot of Animal Kingdom contracts, just not for the use year that I'm looking for, right? So I need March, and there's no March use years for some reason. I don't know why. So
yeah, that's the big problem, right? Is it's like same thing for me with June. Is it's trying to find the right use year
that right
is
contract.
harder. Yeah, it's harder than you think because it's actually a very specific list of things that you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to put this article on because we talked about this recently, right? So and by the way, have you watched any of the behind the attractions yet that are out? Because I've watched 3 so far.
I actually haven't started the new season yet. We went back and we watched some of the season 1 ones before the new ones came out, just because we wanted to, and then we got sidetracked, and we haven't actually sat down and watched the other ones yet because we ended up going down. This is a bit of a tangent again, but
that's fine.
We ended up going down a bit of a rabbit hole where we started finding all those old shorts, like the skeleton dance and stuff like that, and so we started off we were like, oh yeah, let's watch this. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then we just completely forgot about behind the attraction.
Did you watch the 100th anniversary short? Cause that had some feels in it for sure. Oh, for sure. I think I'm pretty sure it made my wife cry. I think.
Oh, it made my wife cry. As soon as that one spot, as soon as it came on, I was there, I need some tissues for my wife.
Yeah. And actually, I saw too, they posted a behind the scenes of that too, because I was wondering to myself, did they really get all these voice people back in to do new voices, or did they use AI, or did they use unused clips or something? And then they showed a behind the scenes where they had all of the voice actors coming back in to do the voices again, which I was like, that's pretty cool that they took the time to do that, because except for the genie, obviously Robin Williams they can't bring back in, and they said they didn't do AI, they just use unused footage, or unused audio. So
right, yeah, and yeah, you're right. It's it is very impressive. It's not like it was a major movie production or anything. It was literally just a quick celebration thing.
8-minute short. Yeah.
Yeah. Hauling in all those people, and one thing I watched that too, and the one thing that was amazing is how people were like, thank you so much for including me in this project.
Oh, yeah. Which, they were honored to be part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of makes you realize, Disney doesn't just always do stuff for the money that we think about. There is there is some pride, and there is definitely some yeah, I guess I don't know how else to say. Yeah, it's like pride or respect for what Disney has done, right?
Yeah, I think definitely the part that has all the feels like you're mentioning is the part where Mickey's talking to the Walt Disney picture, right? And and thanking him for that. So that part, and also just to like kind of the ending too, where they all kind of come together and work together to make everything work. So if you haven't watched that, go on Disney Plus, check it out. I think it's
Tom just spoiled it all for you, so
whatever. Yeah. Just do it. You spoiled the whole thing. Don't care. If you haven't watched it yet, it's your fault. It's 8 minutes of your time. Come on now.
Yeah, you should watch it.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've been watching Behind the Attraction a little bit. I've only watched the Big Thunder one because everyone knows that's my favorite Disney ride. I watched the Nighttime Spectacular one because, again, people know I'm a big Nighttime Spectacular guy. And I also watched the Epcot one. And so there's a lot of good stuff in there. But the reason why I bring this up is because during a panel for this show, one of the executives for Disney Live Entertainment and Spectaculars, and he's featured pretty prominently in the Nighttime Attraction episode, is he's quoted as saying, drones are the next thing. He said, they're very cool. They're kind of a new thing. We're doing a lot of work in that. So all I'm going to say is there's more to come. So, I mean, here's the thing about drones too, Trevor, is that...
And Tom launched through the roof as soon as...
like a drone flying into the sky. I made a prediction on this show that Luminous was going to have drones in it. Now, at this point, I'm thinking it's not going to have drones at launch, right? Because we're a month away. Literally exactly a month away from that show launching, right? And we would have heard by now. But the thing about drones...
You think so? You really
I feel like we would have heard by now. You don't think? Or you think they save it as a surprise?
I think Disney, when Disney wants to keep things under wraps, they stay under wraps. Like I feel like, even like testing and stuff, they can find places far enough away that you don't know that's why they're testing, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've got, 50 some miles of land. They could go do it somewhere where there's nobody, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I don't know. But the thing about drones to me though is they can add it to any show at any time, right? Like,
yes.
Yeah, so like they could announce next month that they're adding drones to Happily Ever After. Like, they don't have to do a new show to add drones in.
That's true. Yeah. The way those shows are done now is that they're not. I mean, back in the day, producing them used to be like a front to back ton of work, but now it's very much it's a lot more modular, right? Like they can edit, they can cut stuff in and out of the shows, like which they have done with Happily Ever After already. Like they made changes to it along the way. So yeah, that's fair. That we could see them. Yeah, I guess I think we've all been waiting for the announcement of them, but I guess it's not that they're going to necessarily or that we should be looking for a new show, right?
Yeah, sure, exactly. Like I don't think they're going to debut a brand new show just for drones. I think it's going to be an addition to existing shows. That's just what I think. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like because like with the Luminous stuff, I don't know if you saw that there was a trailer for Luminous, or like they were showing behind the scenes. Yeah, so
I did. It's funny. My wife's like, "What are you listening to?" I'm like, "I'm doing show research. Leave me alone."
is that the excuse for I'm just flipping through the Disney blog watching videos when I should be doing other stuff?
Yeah. No. Well, but it was also, I wanted to hear the music before. Because listen, there was a rumor out there that Luminous got delayed because they weren't satisfied with the soundtrack, and there was also, a lot of people didn't like what was the one that came before that was in between Happily Ever After. And a lot of people didn't like that because of the soundtrack. So I was a little curious to hear the music because Disney has previewed now the song and the music that's going to be in this new show. If you haven't heard that, you can go out and find that too. But go ahead. Sorry, Trevor. What were you going to say about that?
I was just going to say, the interesting thing is that, they previewed the music. They were kind of talking about, the singer and everything, which, first of all, the music, like to your point about Enchantment, this music, listening to it or the little clip, it definitely feels better to me. It feels a little closer to Happily Ever After, which is, I think, what everyone's kind of setting the bar at right now.
You know what? It actually gave me Illumination vibes, to be totally honest. Like some of the actual orchestral part of it, like it sounded like it felt like it had a base of Illuminations to it, which made me happy.
It does for sure. It has that EPCOT feel. Like the soundtracks in EPCOT have a certain feel to them.
100%.
And it had that there, but I also got kind of that, like, Happily Ever After is kind of overwhelming almost in how they scored it and everything. There was I feel like they're trying to find that in between, right? Like they want it to resonate the same way that Happily Ever After did, but also have a very distinct EPCOT feel. They don't just want to repeat Happily Ever After. But the thing that I noticed, though, like I watched that whole video, and it was specifically talking about the music. Again, they have not shown really anything about the show at this point.
That's a good point, Trevor. They have not really shown us anything.
Yeah. So
except that one shot they keep showing, that one concept art. Like they've shown nothing else.
Yeah. And that goes back to my point is, usually when they're doing testing or for stuff like this, you may get little snippets of stuff, and it may be like, here we've got projections or whatever, right? They'll kind of show off some of that stuff, but I feel, and again, we could both be totally wrong in this. I think
this is speculation.
Yeah, but I feel like if Disney is holding their cards close to them, it's usually because they don't want to reveal things any sooner than they have to, and I think that's part of what makes it exciting and interesting when these shows do come out is that they don't, it's coming, and they don't want people chomping at the bit necessarily for this kind of stuff. They kind of want to, hey, new show, by the way, it's amazing. Right. And then, instead of everybody lining up at the door and kind of expecting it, it becomes a surprise. Right. And we've talked about this before is, Disney does want to surprise people. They don't want everything to be necessarily predictable and, here's the show. I know what I'm going into. I feel like they don't want to necessarily give it all away until it's actually there. And so, maybe the drone thing is going to come. And I guess I'm not even expecting what we've seen in Paris. Because
the Paris stuff is amazing. If you haven't seen it, go look on YouTube. It's amazing.
The Paris show was just astounding. But that doesn't mean that they can't use them in a smaller capacity. Like maybe it might be something that's replacing the in the previous show how they did, or not. It wasn't the previous show. It was the in between show, which I can't remember the name of it now.
Well, it's still going on. It's
EPCOT Forever. Yeah. So how they had the people on the boats with the flags going around the lagoon, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe it's doing maybe they're doing something like that where they're just moving around the lagoon, and it's not necessarily like a larger array of drones, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't count it out yet, I guess is the point. I know I know you really want drones. I mean, don't get me wrong, I want them too, but I feel like you're way more excited for this.
I mean, so if you've seen the shows they've done in Paris, man, I want it. I want them in the parks. And I just see this as a way to plus the show. I almost see it as projection mapping, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm probably wrong on the timeline here, but within the last 5 to 10 years, Disney has done projection mapping of everything, right? Where it was on one or two things before, then they were like, well, wait a second, we can do this for everything, right? They're even doing projection mapping on Spaceship Earth right now. I'm not Spaceship Earth. I'm sorry. Space Mountain at Disneyland. Yeah. I don't know if you saw that. They're doing over at Disneyland. So I could see drones becoming the new projection mapping where it just shows up everywhere. You know what I mean? Even if it's small things, like you said, it's small, little, additions to current shows. Right. And I mean, listen, Disney's also filed. I don't think people realize this. Disney was very much on the forefront of this. Right. So they did that drone show back in 2016, which, it wasn't that long ago, but I mean, I think they were one of the first to do a drone show. I don't remember drone shows existing until that point. And I know that they had this partnership with Intel, which they mention actually in this article. But obviously these are becoming a lot more prevalent, right? You're seeing them in a lot more places. But Disney is one of the pioneers here. And I mean, they do have a bunch of patents. I mean, I remember we talked about the patent where they had drone controlled like puppets. They had like big puppets that they figured out how to control them with drones. Like that's a thing they could do. I mean, I don't know how, but I don't know what they're going to do with it. But they've tested these things out. So I'll be really interested to see what happens. I think that obviously they're going to add them. I mean, he's the guy that is the creative director for nighttime shows is straight up telling you drones are coming. Like, so
yeah, I need to go watch that. I'll watch that episode here.
Yeah,
like probably later today and see exactly.
He actually they talk about drones in that episode of Behind the Attraction. So they do talk about the drone show happening at Paris. And which I actually did not realize was actually a partnership with a drone show company. I didn't realize that. I mean, Disney, did it together with them. But, this article also mentions though too, like the X-Wing fighters that they did, those drones that they did over Galaxy's Edge for the opening,
which was kind of a letdown, but
because they didn't do it every night, right? It was cool when it happened. Like,
well, I mean, but it was literally like, 20 seconds kind of thing. Like they didn't even do anything with them, which was
no. You're right. But I mean, it's a cool concept.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, he's also quoted as saying in here too. Everyone's like, "What are you doing with drones?" And he mentions I was working with Intel a long time ago when we first started it, because I mean, they basically did start the whole drone thing. But they just haven't really done anything with it since then for whatever reason. I mean, outside of Paris.
There is a part here in this information that you linked that I think this kind of answers it a little bit, is that they say Disneyland Paris developed Disney D-Light.
Yes.
Fun.
Yeah.
With Dronisos, I guess is the name of the company. Yeah. Which is a France-based drone entertainment company that opened offices in Orlando, Florida in late 2019, just before the pandemic struck.
Bingo.
So literally they were like, yeah, we're doing this, but then
pandemic
it got sidelined for like, a year and a half, which like everything else, it's probably now just they've gotten the chance to reset. And I guess this is the thing is, everyone's like, oh, drone show, it's, you program them, they go up, they do their thing, and that's it. But programming those drones, like it's not, there's a lot of work that goes into it that I don't think people necessarily realize. It's the same thing with the projection mapping. Is like you said, Disney started off doing it with one thing, but then there's a lot of work that goes into figuring out how to use it in all kinds of different scenarios. And it's the same thing with the drones, is that, the way that you would use the drones in an EPCOT show versus a Magic Kingdom show, they have different requirements. They have different airspaces they have to deal with. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff you have to figure out, that it's not just like, oh, turn on the drones, fly them up and make them show a picture. Like that's not, or that's the most like simplest way to describe it, but that's not what they're doing. Right. So
no, it's way more difficult than that. And I think you're dead on, right? Like the fact that right at the end of 2019, this company that they already have a partnership with open an office in Orlando, like they were probably going to do this in 2020. Like they probably were going to do a drone show for the 50th anniversary. Like
we would have seen this 2 years ago if the pandemic didn't hit.
Absolutely, because you don't just move to Orlando just and not work with Disney or Universal or whoever, right? Like you're going to do those things. So I mean, listen, I just am waiting for it to happen. I think it's going to be really cool once they do it. And that's the other thing though too. Disney's not going to just come out with like a regular drone show, right? Like they're going to do,
they want it to be like
the best.
They want it to be, they want it to be a Disney drone show. That not just like, hey, we got drones, right? Like,
yeah. And like you said, it's not an easy thing to do, right? I mean, it once you like program these things, like it only takes a couple people to run them, but actually building a show around drones, it takes a lot of time, money, effort, and listen, Disney as a company basically like they're a giant tanker ship, right? That had to come to a halt immediately, right? Back in 2020, right? And then when they started everything back up again, it took them a long time to get back to regular speed. It took them. It's such a big entity, right? And they have priorities. Just like anything else, you got to prioritize certain things. And so now Disney's starting to they're getting through those first and second priorities that they had, right? Like they're getting back to normal stuff. And then once you can get back to normal stuff, then you can start doing the extraordinary stuff, right? Like the extra stuff. And like, so now we're just getting back there. It took them a long time, but they're just getting back to that point now and getting to a point where they can do this kind of stuff again. And so, I mean, I would not in any way be shocked if we see a drone show at Disney World next year, even. Like, I think they're going to do this very soon. I just really believe that. And
like I said, you've got me thinking either, I mean, I could see this going one of two ways, is that, you know, for something like Luminous, either day one, they'll be like, hey, you know, drones are added into it, or there may be a spot in the show where, you know, you won't realize it right away, but it's like they've already blocked space for the drones. And then it'll be like 6 months later, it's like, oh, you know, enhancement to the show. Here are drones alongside what we're currently doing, right? Like,
yeah, no, that's totally true. That could be like you know, the Luminous that we're going to see in December could be, you know, an MVP, right? Like, you could, and then we got phase 2 coming mid next year, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be interesting to see though. I mean, but like, if you're a fan of these drone shows, and like I said, if you haven't seen, I mean, you can watch the D-Light one, but also watch the Marvel one that they did. I mean, the Marvel, I don't know if you watched the Marvel one, Trevor. The Marvel one is crazy cool.
Oh yeah, that's the one that sticks in my head, because I remember like when you could see like the shield, and I was like, oh, that looks so neat.
Cool. Yeah,
the way they did that. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's really incredible what they can do with these drones. So I mean, I definitely look forward to really seeing what it's going to look like, and Disney's, I think, going to do it in a unique way. Like I said, they've done a lot. They have a lot of patents on drone technology, right? So, you know, and sometimes they don't use these patents. Sometimes, you know, they have a research and development lab, right? So sometimes they'll just patent stuff because they figure out how to do it, right? And then they never use it. But other times, you know, these patents end up showing up in the parks, and I could see that happening. So
I didn't realize this. So Dronisos, the company that they partnered with, apparently they did the Tokyo 2020 Summer Olympics.
Oh yeah,
show, which again that's another like sticks out in my mind as, you know, very impressive. So it's you're right. It's coming. We're just gonna have to wait and see here what Disney decides to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, go watch Behind the Attraction too. I actually learned quite a few things, Trevor. I go into those things skeptical, like, oh, they're just gonna tell me all the stuff I already know. But like I legitimately
but to be fair, like, you know, you like me have spent so much time researching and reading on Disney that it's very hard to make a show where you don't know a lot of it, because like it is, I mean, it feels like it's not fair to say like, oh, you know, the show was okay because I didn't learn anything. It's like, you know, for somebody that doesn't know Disney on that level, they are very informative shows.
Oh, for sure.
They do teach you a lot, but yeah, the hard part is that when you're really far down the Disney hole, you're kind of scraping the bottom for like tidbits of information. Little tidbits.
Right? Yeah, well, because I mean, I've talked about this before. I'm like very much an Imagineering nerd, and I always I have been since I was a kid. Like I wanted to be an Imagineer when I grew up, and that didn't work out. I'm doing other things, but you know, like I've always been a nerd about this stuff, and you know, read books and watched all this stuff. So for me, like I go into these things like, hey, yeah, I know about that, but then you know, they pull out a couple things like and I mentioned this in our Discord. And this is no like spoilers or anything, right? But like on the EPCOT episode, they talk about Frozen Ever After, and that before the Frozen movie even ever came out, that they were already designing the ride to go in the Norway Pavilion. They were already working on it. So like I just always assumed that Frozen came out, it was a huge hit, and then they were like, oh bleep, we need to do so. We need to like move fast, right? Like we need to get a ride in the parks, and we need it tomorrow, you know. And they were like that, but it was more, they already had a plan. They just were like, oh no, now we have to do it, you know?
Yeah, it got accelerated is the only thing. It wasn't that they scrambled and went, bye Maelstrom. Like
No, And I guess the other one too was I never realized that the Big Thunder episode, right? So I knew what was planned for where Big Thunder is before Big Thunder, right? Like there was this massive land that was planned with like a water ride and like there was all sorts of cool stuff there. And it was like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Sorry, is this in Florida that was supposed to happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
So,
I know, or I haven't watched the episode yet, but my problem is I know like Disneyland Big Thunder.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is all like news to me. But no, anyway, continue. Sorry, I was
so,
just like, wait, what do you mean there's a whole land?
So there was like this whole like cool, like crazy big ride that they were going to build. And it was going to be like Pirates of the Caribbean. And they were going to do that in Disney World because they weren't originally going to build Pirates of the Caribbean at Disney World. Right? Like that was not a plan. They wanted to keep it different from Disneyland. And then people went to Disney World and they were like, well, where's Pirates of the Caribbean? They want Pirates of the Caribbean. So then once they were like, okay, well, people want Pirates of the Caribbean, and they decided to build it, they were like, well, now we can't do a Pirates of the Caribbean ride, version that we were going to do. And so that morphed its way into Big Thunder Mountain, which I had no idea that was the reason why it moved from that old concept to the new one. I thought it was just an iterative thing. I didn't realize that it was like literally because they decided to build Pirates of the Caribbean. Then they were like, oh, now we'll do Big Thunder. Like instead. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. That's really kind of cool.
That is interesting. I didn't think about that either. That, sometimes iteration isn't necessarily on a direct line.
Yeah.
I guess is the best way to say it.
I also somehow did not know that the track layout is exactly the same for Disney World and Disneyland. It's just flipped.
Yeah, it's mirrored.
I did not know that. I don't know why I didn't know that. I feel like I should have known that. I just assumed that they were a different track layout. But yeah, no, it's literally just completely mirrored the opposite direction. So like, yeah.
Left is right and right is left. Although there is one addition in the Florida one that isn't in the Disneyland one.
Which is
so when you go by the little town in the Disney World one, how the track kind of
like rocks back and forth.
Yeah. So that's not, it's not like that in Disneyland. Like it's just a straight track. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also there isn't the little town there, or the little town is not in that position. It's actually at like the very end of the ride in Disneyland because it backs up against Rancho de Zocalos. I'm probably butchered the name of the restaurant. But yeah,
that's okay. Yeah, so go watch Behind the Attraction. I did learn some things, and there were definitely some interesting things in there. It is funny having watched the Imagineering story and seeing many of the same Imagineers in this one. And just look how much older they look, like just how much they've aged since they did Imaginary Story. But also too, I found it interesting too, in the Nighttime Spectacular one, they talked a lot about the dragon at Fantasmic and no mention of the fact that it's gone. I assume they made it after it was gone, but you think they would have gone back and maybe like put in a note that the dragon was gone.
Or like, but again, the problem is you don't know when that was recorded.
Well, I know, but you can always go back and edit, though. I mean, you can go back and edit it out or put it.
But I guess then it's also like, do you need somebody, like, would you need to bring back an Imagineer to speak to it, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, you're right. Editing is one thing, but I feel like. Sometimes it's like if there's nothing else to edit in to that spot, maybe it's just easier to leave it as, we know it's changed since then, but this is kind of like a point in time of how it was. Right.
Yeah.
Because the funny thing is, we're watching these shows and like, to your point is, you're seeing like the Imagineers, like, aging and whatnot. But, in even 2 years, some of the attractions that they're talking about could change so drastically that everything that you're watching in the show could be like inaccurate, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's
And in the EPCOT episode, they did talk a little bit about like they talked about like Cosmic Rewind and stuff like that, right? So like it's not like it's very out of date, right? It's pretty up to date, but we talked about, so just to move on, we talked about this Luminous thing already, right? So I mean,
we already kind of went through that. So I've already been like looking at the so we're going to talk about food here, but we're going to talk about gingerbread houses because
Yeah.
Hey, it's still food, but it's.
I mean, but you can't eat it though. I mean, because you can't go and eat the gingerbread house. I mean,
you can, but that's a very daring prospect.
If you want to get trespassed from Disney property, like the guy that jumped into the EPCOT lagoon, then then go ahead and take a bite out.
Yeah. Also, I don't know how good that gingerbread necessarily is, because they make it more for aesthetics, not for visual. But they do also sell gingerbread, like at the gingerbread house in the Grand Floridian. Yeah. So there's actually a shop inside of the gingerbread house.
That is true. I'm not a big gingerbread fan. I'm not going to lie. It's not my jam as far as holiday cookies go. So
yeah, it's fine. I mean, I feel like it needs to have enough icing on it for me to eat it. Like gingerbread by itself is not okay, and then too much icing is not good either.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
There's a balance, but these look really good.
They look amazing. So there's going to be one at the Grand Californian starting November 10th. That one's going to show up. So in the next week or so here. And so this one is 7 feet tall, 12 feet wide, 600 pounds of gingerbread, 600 pounds of powdered sugar, 250 pounds of fondant, and 1 pound of pixie dust.
And it looks like the Grand Californian.
It does. It's pretty incredible, what they can do with these gingerbread houses. Also, 25 hidden Mickeys. So that's a fun game that you can play there, too. Yeah, 25 hidden Mickeys. That's a lot.
I'll look at this now.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're going to be able to see them all in the picture, my friend.
I mean, we'll see how well I can zoom in on it. But.
Yeah. And then we've got, so of course, the gingerbread display within the Haunted Mansion as well over at Disneyland. So that's, they've been doing that for a long time. And then, of course, we have returning the Grand Floridian gingerbread house. So that's been, obviously one that has been there for a while. That one is, really large as well. This one's, 10,000 pieces of gingerbread, 85-pound. Oh, yeah, the 85-pound chocolate Santa. So there's an 85-pound chocolate Santa, which I would just love to take a bite out of. That might be worth getting trespassed from Disney property for. So that one starts November 8th, by the way. So again, that's this week. That one is going to start. So look for that one. I might try to get myself over there to see it. I would love to see it while I'm down there. We've also got some smaller ones too here. The beach. Good.
Sorry, before we move on, can I just shout out that the above the windows that they show there's like a Chip and Dale drawing that's done. The detail on that is amazing.
It's incredible. It's a painting. They did a painting.
Yeah, and so yeah, you if you can get over there, go have a look at this. Like it's fantastic. And then Beach Club.
Yeah, Beach Club. So Beach Club is doing. I love that they have one of the Boardwalk Deli. That's hilarious and cool. I just like that they have the little Boardwalk Deli and they've got Minnie and Mickey inside there. That's pretty funny. Beach Club has the carousel.
The carousel. And then Boardwalk has the Boardwalk Deli.
Yes. Sorry. My bad. There's the carousel. They've had the carousel now for years. I'm trying to see what they said. It's 22 years. So and it does move. So the carousel does go around. So that one is also very cool. And this year we're also going to have some at Animal Kingdom Lodge too. There's going to be, it's not gingerbread houses, but there's giraffes and zebras.
Gingerbread animals.
Yeah, gingerbread animals. Yes.
And it looks like you can get a gingerbread giraffe. Like you can buy one, which is
wreath on it.
It's super cute. I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I want a gingerbread giraffe. And like that, even though, like you said, gingerbread's not like a favorite thing, I still would like to just buy a gingerbread giraffe for some reason.
It's fair. You know why gingerbread's not my thing is I'm a soft cookie guy, and I feel like whenever I get gingerbread, it's always like very hard. I don't hate hard cookies.
Yeah,
I like
right.
soft cookies. Yeah.
That's why I tend to go for like ginger molasses cookies instead of gingerbread cookies, because they are a little softer. But
I like a soft cookie. I mean, listen, I know some people like hard cookies. I'm a soft cookie guy. That's to each their own.
I like to keep my teeth.
Yeah, exactly. We do also have a gingerbread display at Contemporary. This one also has, because they seem to be very obsessed with this lately, the 5-legged goat is on the tree at this display. Which, listen, I'm here for it. Like, I'm not going to complain that the 5-legged goat is everywhere. Like,
it's very tiny. though. Like,
it is very tiny. Yeah,
it's like just a teeny tiny thing on the display.
It looks like a postage stamp size, basically. Yeah. I mean, it could just be the perspective that we're seeing, but it does look very small. And then last, over at the American Adventure in EPCOT, they're going to have a display with gingerbread versions of the Lincoln Memorial, Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, and the American Adventure building with Regal Eagle Smokehouse off to the side, all made of gingerbread. So that's also pretty cool, I think.
The shout out though is the dog next to the mailbox that looks like he's putting a letter into the letters to Santa box. That's it. It's so unnecessarily cute. Disney didn't need to do that.
They didn't, but they did. So there also will be some gingerbread displays on the cruise ships as well. So each of the ships is going to have a gingerbread creation on display in the atrium of the ships. So that's cool too. I don't know if they've done that before or not because I haven't done a Disney cruise. So but that's amazing that they're doing that.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking like, I know cruise ships don't move all that much, but like what happens if there is like rough waters or something?
They have to make those extra strong. Yeah.
You don't want a gingerbread house flying down a hallway at somebody.
Yeah. I'm sure they probably accounted for that. I would assume. So, all right. And listen, we do need to wrap up here, but
we do. Yeah,
we do. But I did put holiday food on here. So we're going to do what we did last time. We're going to find one thing that we want to eat, and we're going to talk about it. That's it.
So sorry, are we doing the foodie guide or
one from each, Trevor?
One from each.
Okay, because we have a foodie guide to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, and we have a foodie guide to the holidays at Disneyland Resort. So, man, this is
this is tough.
It is tough. Listen, if you want to choose more than one, that's okay. I'm not gonna be.
I'm scrolling through these real quick. Okay, the winner for me is the mailbox.
The mailbox is very cool. Yeah,
it looks like a red velvet. Let me find it. Yeah.
I also have to say this gingerbread layered cake looks incredible as well.
Oh yes.
The letter to Santa: flourless chocolate cake, hot chocolate mousse, and marshmallows topped with chocolate pieces.
There it is. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a chocolate cake. I thought it'd be like red velvet, but
it does look red velvety, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it says it's a flourless chocolate cake. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's the one for me. It looks good. I'm sure it would taste good. I know, some people don't like flourless cakes, but I'm sure Disney makes it worthwhile.
I was just talking about how I don't really like gingerbread cookies. I do like the flavor of gingerbread. And so I'm going to go with this gingerbread cake layered with cream cheese frosting, dulce de leche ganache, topped with a gingerbread man chocolate piece.
That looks very decadent.
It does, right? It looks delicious. Like, I just want to eat it. I want to eat that right now.
Okay, let's flip over to Disneyland.
Yeah.
And I think I already saw the winner as I'm scrolling through this, but there's beignets. Beignets are good. Beignets are a good runner-up, but I think the winner is the Green Martian cookie.
Oh, okay. That's not the route I would have gone. I have my own choice, right? So
yeah. So again, I know it is just a cookie, but and I need to get back to it now. It's the Santa Alien Macaroon. So it's filled with marshmallow cream and chocolate ganache. So I'm sure it's good, and it just looks super cute because because they've got like the little purple candy cane and the purple Santa hat on it, which is different. Like I think that's why I like it, is that it's not just like the typical like red and green Santa. They made it alien-esque, and even the marshmallow cream looks like it's like blue, like very blue.
It's going to result in some interesting things later, but it's
green and blue and purple.
It's a lot of food coloring.
Yeah, except that you're putting a lot of food coloring in your system. But
just accept the consequences of what's going to happen from that. But It does look good. I agree with you. I am going to go, and maybe I'm just really in the mood for cake today, but I'm going to go with over at the Plaza Inn, the Devil's Food Cake with swirled white chocolate mousse filling, buttercream frosting, and holiday sprinkles. Very simple and straightforward, but I love a good cake, and I really love the look of this cake, where it kind of looks like a candy cane, or it's very Christmassy, right? It's got the layers of different mousse colors in the middle.
Yeah.
It's nothing special. It's just a cake, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just in the mood for cake today. Maybe I need to go eat.
Just how it's how they did it, right? Like it's not mixed together. It's very clean lines through the filling.
And I like a devil's food cake. I don't know about you. I like a good devil's food cake. So
me too. I agree. I'll definitely go for a good slice of cake when I can find it. There is there
is a crazy amount on this list. If we talked about this, it would take a half hour.
Easy.
Yeah,
but
easy.
Lots of I've said this before, and this drives me nuts because their holiday stuff is absolutely fitting. Like, hey, this is Disney and this is holiday themed. Like it's visually giving off the right vibe. Why don't they do it with the stuff the rest of the year how they do in the international parks?
Yeah. But like this highly themed stuff, yeah.
Yeah, this is hitting the mark so much that it makes me like sad that any other time of the year you're not going to get this.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'll give you that. Yeah. I do have to say too, just going all the way to the bottom too. I kind of need this tin, this gold musical rotating tin. It reminds me, and maybe this is just like a nostalgic thing for me, but it reminds like my grandmother always used to buy. And I don't know if this is just an American thing, that big tin of popcorn that had like 3 different types of popcorn in it. And like, it was a decorative Christmas tin.
Yeah. We get those like, we get those like Boy Scouts sell those like.
Yeah. My grandmother always used to buy those for me. So.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that. It looks, I agree with you there that it looks very nice.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, everyone complaining in the comments about lack of plant-based items. Listen, I understand, but
okay.
So many.
No, that's not fair. Fair that, they should have more plant-based stuff.
But Disney's so good about it. Like they have so many plant-based things. Like
I guess the hard part is they don't always advertise it, and sometimes it feels like there's when there's a bunch of like amazing looking food, and then you've got the thing off in the corner that's like this is plant based, but it's just our standard fare, like here's a cookie kind of thing. I can see where people feel put out by that. That's fair.
I get it. All right, well, why don't we wrap this thing up, Trevor? Listen, I know we've been saying we were going to stick to an hour, and we're more than an hour today, but we had a guest on, and
and it was a worthwhile conversation. We needed to have it with Derek because we haven't had there's a lot going on, so it was good.
All right, so let's wrap this up, Trevor.
Okay, so as usual, if you guys want to reach out to us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love getting your emails. You guys share questions with us. You share your own experiences with Disney, all that kind of stuff. So we love hearing it because we love talking about Disney. In that same vein, if you want to reach out to us, you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. You can also find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. As we said, we're not great at Instagram. We try, but we're not
too old.
We're not the greatest at it, but we do try to at least, get stuff onto the platform so you can follow us on there and, see things that we post. So, making an effort, give us that at least.
We're trying.
Yeah. And also, if you're on Facebook, you can find our group, Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, which we have a lot of great listeners in there that submit questions. We get memes in there. We get people asking their own questions about trips, people trying to figure out, trip planning or DVC stuff, which is always great to see. I love seeing, people posing questions in there and just seeing people talking back and forth and sharing their own experiences, because I think, all of us as Disney people, we have our own views on it. We have our own experiences with Disney. And I think our group is a great place to get some perspective on, what everyone else is seeing. So, if you're interested in that, definitely come check it out because, for me personally, if I'm planning a trip for myself, I'll actually sometimes go back through and read what other people have said because, it helps all of us get better at planning Disney trips. So, come join us on that kind of stuff. If you want to help support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and check out our different merchandise that we got there. We have the golden birthday button, which is only available until December. So you got like another month here to get your button shirt if you're wanting one. We also have the new logo on our merchandise, so you can get shirts and stuff that have the new logo. And yeah, maybe you need a fanny pack. I guess fanny packs are back in style. Or what do they call them now? Like crossbody or something?
There's like crossbody packs, and there's the fanny. I mean, there's still fanny packs. I don't know. It's different. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess people just wear them like across their chest now. So, if you want to get, a cool welcome home fanny pack that you can rock at the parks, I'd love to see that. Somebody post a picture if you do that. Yeah. And also, if you like Patreon as a way to support things, we do have a Patreon that you can go there and check out our different levels of support. It's patreon.com/welcomehomepod. We have exclusive Patreon merch that you can only get through Patreon, so you can go on there and see what we have available. Also, our Patreon listeners do get 15% off in the store. So if you are looking at things like the birthday button shirt and whatnot, you can actually save yourself a little bit of money by, putting some support through Patreon. And our Patreon listeners also get access to the Discord server, which is yet another place that we love talking with our listeners. We have great conversations in there. It's always nice to see everybody sharing their thoughts on things going on at Disney, and the fact that even though we don't always agree on everything, everyone is very respectful. So, I just want to shout out to all of our Discord people that, I see the great conversations. I know I don't always get the chance to join in on them because, unfortunately, I'm busy, but, me and Tom do try to talk on there as much as we can. But really appreciate all of our Discord people for keeping the conversation going on there, because it's important if you're going to talk about Disney.
Yeah.
Last but not least, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. It does help more people find the show because of how the internet works, and we do like seeing people write reviews for us on iTunes because we love hearing the feedback. I don't know.
I have one.
You had any new ones?
I do.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's hear it.
From Jen Peelren. I don't know if I said that screen name right, but that's okay. So this says loved it, 5 stars. I started with episode 233, so you are like brand new.
Wow.
Good for you. Thank you for joining us. Really, seriously, we really appreciate it. So thanks so much for it. But she said, loved it. Started with episode 233. I loved it, and I'm so glad I gave you guys a try. Thank you for keeping my love of Disney going. So thank you so much for that really nice review.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. So, besides reviews, which are important, also it's important to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube Music, just about any place you can find podcasts, you can find us. Just, search for us in the whatever app you use. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult your DVC representative or Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to Derek from DVC Resale Market for joining us on today's show. Please reach out to him with any of your Disney, your DVC questions, or your food questions, or, from a long time ago, dishwasher loading tips. He's got those as well. Anyway, reach out to him. Thank you so much to World of Disney. I do that every time. World of DVC for supporting the show. It's hard because there's a World of Disney store,
Yeah. He's not in the store in Disney Springs.
No.
It's something different.
No. World of DVC. Thank you for supporting the show for as long as you guys have. So join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit its hair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.